Hey crypto friends, for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Garrett and welcome to Altcoin Radar. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Bitcoin charts and we're going to see where it might be headed, and we will cover both bullish and bearish scenarios just to simply cover all of the different possibilities. Now, for those of you who love trading crypto and would like to try out the same crypto exchange that I use on a daily basis, feel free to go ahead and try out the Blowfin exchange here with the link in the video description down below this video. I personally love this exchange because they allow anybody from anywhere to be able to sign up and trade crypto futures. So if you are from the United States like I am and you want to trade crypto futures, you can do it right here on the Blowfin exchange. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at the weekly macro Bitcoin charts and see what we got going on here. So first of all, we have got this current this current candle that we've got going on right now. It's kind of interesting, but so far I wouldn't call it bullish right now, to be honest with you. And the simple reason why is because we have not been able to break the previous week's high yet whatsoever, and we are currently trending below it right now. And that's kind of a little bit, it's a little bit scary, especially considering we haven't hit $100,000 yet, and we are literally right there. I mean, we hit like 99,680, it looks like, or somewhere around there, and that's like not 100,000. And everybody's been waiting for 100,000 for a very long time. And I assume that there is a giant sell wall sitting at $100,000 because it's kind of one of those big psychological levels that everybody's waiting for it to hit. I mean, everybody's been talking about Bitcoin hitting 100,000 for years. I mean, years. Ever since I got into crypto in, back in the day, people have been talking about 100,000 for a very, very long time. And now that we're literally we literally only got like a couple $100 away from it. I fully do believe that once we do eat up that sell wall, I fully believe that we will end up surpassing it at some point in time here. But it's going to take a little bit of time, I feel like. All right. But what's going on here right now is we are currently trending at around $96,900 at the time of me filming this right now. And as you guys can clearly see, we have literally skyrocketed from this $69,000 level. I mean, we've literally been going straight up for about like 3 weeks now in a row. And at some point in time, we are going to end up having another correction here. Okay. I mean, as you guys can clearly see, we went up in this big upward swing right here. We literally went up from here. Let's see. We went up about, in this big swing right here, we went up about 92% right there. All right. Now in this next swing right here, we have gone up, let's see here. We have gone up roughly around 104%. All right. So given that, considering we went up about 90% right here in this leg, and then 100% in this leg, my guess is that, if momentum doesn't pick up here, we will end up falling back a little bit. How far, I have no idea. I mean, we could end up just falling back to the bottom part of one of these previous weekly candles, but we do have very strong support here at the previous all-time high here at around $73,000 or right around $74,000 as well. So there is a possibility we could end up dropping back to that point for a minor correction here, which is decent because realistically we have deviated pretty far from this 20-period EMA going on right here, okay? And as you guys can clearly see, what typically happens is when we deviate super far from that 20-period EMA, we do end up starting to drop. Usually when we deviate from this 20-period EMA, usually what ends up happening is momentum ends up getting weaker and weaker because obviously nothing can just go straight up forever and ever. That's just not sustainable. It just doesn't work that way. All right. So when it deviates this far away, usually momentum ends up dropping a little bit and we end up coming back a little bit, and the EMA starts to reset itself and starts to catch up to the current price action. So that could end up happening here. And if that does, I do not expect that we will end up topping out here. By topping out, I mean starting a new bear market from here. Realistically, I mean, we've got Michael Saylor that's still buying Bitcoin here up in the high 90s. I fully expect that we will end up surpassing 100,000 at some point in time here. When that's going to happen, I have no idea. I'm not a magician. I can't see the future, so I can't tell you that. But I do believe that it will end up happening. I just think it's all going to depend on, coming back down a little bit and gaining momentum before we can end up going back upwards. Now, I'm not saying that that is going to happen, but I definitely do think that is a possibility, especially with how far we've deviated away from these EMAs here, okay? Now, the other thing I want to take a look at here is Bitcoin dominance, all right? As you guys can clearly see, ever since the September of 2022, Bitcoin dominance has just been rising and rising and rising, okay? In fact, Bitcoin dominance has not had a, quote unquote correction ever since then. We have had, or macro corrections anyway, we have had a decent small move to the downside back here in January of 2024, and we had another small one from back here from October 30th up until December 25th of 2023. But they weren't technically corrections, as you guys can clearly see. We still were above the 20-period EMA, and that's technically still bullish in a macro view. Now, we are currently trending underneath the 20-period EMA going on right here on overall Bitcoin dominance. So that realistically tells me that if we do end up closing below here, there is a possibility that since Bitcoin has not hit $100,000 yet, there is a chance that if we end up closing above this support level here of 57%, in my personal view, I believe 57% is one of the key levels for us to cross before we start, before Bitcoin dominance really starts taking a tumble and altcoin season, the big altcoin season ends up starting and, altcoins start going up like crazy again. But we are currently underneath the 20-period EMA, but we are above the current support level of 57%, all right? So if we close right here, my guess and my hope is that we will end up going back upwards and start swinging back upwards for the next week, and Bitcoin will end up getting that momentum that it needs for it to go ahead and pass this $100,000 level. And if that does end up happening, obviously I believe that alts, the big time altcoins are going to end up following with also, but not obviously as hard as Bitcoin is going up. But then obviously once this starts going back up and Bitcoin does end up crossing $100,000, my guess is that, we will finally get a top out of Bitcoin dominance here, and Bitcoin dominance will start dropping down, and the big time altcoin season on the total 3 and those charts will start to rise as well. So overall, that's my personal view as far as what I personally see happening here. Now, if you guys are interested and you would like to see more of a regular updates on these types of charts, on macro charts like these, I do have a friend who is very, very big into, he trades nothing but macro. Pretty much all he does is look at macro charts on a regular basis. That's all he does is chart macro outlooks on a regular basis on all the top tier altcoins and Bitcoin and all of these other charts like Bitcoin dominance, total 3, and all of those other types of charts as well. So if you are interested in that, you can go ahead and follow my friend here. His name is Endless Grind at eGrind26, and that's pretty much all he does. He's just a normal dude, and he just his big focus is the macro. The overall macro charts. So if you're interested in that, go ahead, give him a follow, and you will not be disappointed. But overall here, you guys, that's going to pretty much do it for this video. So I will go ahead and wrap this one up. But before you guys leave, go ahead and make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button below the video, and leave me a comment below on your personal thoughts on where you think the price of Bitcoin is going to go here in the short to midterm. And with that said, for those of you guys who stuck around and watched this entire video throughout the whole thing, thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I hope to see all of you in my future videos.